It's with a heavy heart that I regret to inform everyone that my Aunt Jenny has passed away. She made her journey to the sandhills a little too soon for all of us. Weren't ready for that. Weren't expecting that. She was a big part of everyone's lives, especially her kids, her brothers, her sisters, me. She's all her family and friends. I used to call her, and one time I called, I said, "What are you doing?" She said, "Well, I'm just sitting here staring out the window looking at my tree." So after that, I'd call. I'd ask her how she's doing. She said, "I'm good." I said, "Well, how's your tree?" She'd chuckle. And she'd say, "It's good too." And we'd start visiting. I'll always think about that tree when I think about my Aunt Jenny. And I always think about that story she told when she gives the tree credit for saving her life. I'm going to miss those conversations with my auntie. She had so much knowledge. Boy, that woman had so much knowledge. And she was eager to share it, especially with kids. You know, my aunt recorded 2 members-only episodes on this podcast with me. And what I'm going to do is release those to the public so that all of us can have those recordings, download them and save them, keep them forever as we see fit. You know, we're never guaranteed tomorrow. None of us. Always cherish your loved ones. Hold them tight. Keep them close. Never take them for granted. Auntie, when you get over there, tell everybody I said hi. Tell everybody I think about them. And we'll never forget any of you. We think about you guys every day. And someday we'll meet again, Auntie. And when we do, boy, I'm sure we'll have a ton of stories to tell each other. Until that day, Auntie. Until that day.
And I heard the first officer call out. And then the first officer jumps on the radio and he screams, "Holy shit, it's the goat man." And I mean, it's just like everything went quiet. And I could hear the ringing in my ears, and I could feel my heart race. And so I hit my lights and I went flying up there.
I've been told by some older people, elders, that you grab them and you hold them and you don't own them, but you hold them there until daylight. If you can hold them or pull them into the light, it destroys anything they have, any kind of power or anything they were trying to do to you. It'll destroy them.
This guy was like bouncing, like, you know, like how you see people kind of getting ready to jig, you know how they kind of bounce? Yeah, he was like that way. He was just kind of bouncing, and he was just kind of going back and forth on one foot to the other. And he just kind of turned sideways, and he turned back over to the other way, and he took off. Holy shit, he jumped in Wanda.
This is Lodge Tales. I'm your host, Rod Williamson, and thanks again for joining us on another episode. If you are Native American and you'd like to come on the show to share your strange and paranormal experiences, please consider emailing us at lodgetales@gmail.com. Well, hello, patrons. We're back. In this episode, we talk about dreams. It's my Aunt Jenny and I, Jenny Manyhides. And we share a lot of our dreams that we've had, just to kind of give us example of kind of what we're talking about here. You know, dreams are kind of this, I guess I would label it as kind of a gray area where you're not really sure. A lot of times they can be confusing. You're not really sure what they mean, if they mean anything at all. You know, for the most part, a lot of people think dreams don't mean anything, or whatever. You know, they just don't really have an inclination of the power of dreams. You know, the potential power that they have. But we go in and we kind of illustrate through our own dreams and experiences what some of them can mean, and what, I guess, how we reacted to them. And largely we're still stumped by a lot of our dreams. And a lot of us natives, if we have these powerful type dreams, we talk about them to older people, and we try to get them, you know, we try to look for little answers, because some of the dreams will be given guidance on, you know, go put out a smudge, go put out an offering. Go smudge, go put out an offering, or, you know, pray on this, or you know, just guidance of looking for answers or what we should do. And I remember, like, people used to go to certain holy people, medicine people, and they would tell them their dream, and things would usually happen from there, like, oh, well, I think you're going to need to do this. You know, I think you're going to need to be, I guess, just guided. They would guide them on what to do. And we still do that today. And we try to find answers to what these mean. Some people never have powerful type dreams, you know, and others do, and they don't know what to do with them. There's a lot more dreams in there that I've never shared, and my aunt has never shared, you know, on a platform like this. And a lot of times people will have dreams and they won't share them with anyone. You know, they just won't share them with anyone. They'll go their whole lives and keep that to their, you know, close to their chest, and they won't divulge anything that happened in those dreams. Some of the dreams are just for them alone, you know, especially the really powerful ones. They don't really share that because, well, for whatever reason. But a lot of those reasons are because if they were given a gift, that gift might disappear. It might go away if we talk about it too much. So a lot of times that's what they do. They keep it close and they don't really talk about it. You know, they might say something about it on their deathbed, you know. It's like that. They'll stick with them their whole lives until the very end. They might think, well, you know how I did all that? Well, this is how. And they'll share part of their dream, or all of it, or whatever. But, you know, so those are kind of my understandings of a lot of these things. I'm no expert by any means. I get really confused by a lot of them. I don't know what a lot of them mean, even to this day. You know, Jenny and I are going to do another part on dreams, and maybe then I'll share some of the more powerful dreams that I've had that still leave me stumped to this day. I don't know what to do with them. And the only reason I would share is because if anybody else had these types of dreams, maybe they could seek out their meanings and go from there, you know. Because there is a lot of stuff, a lot of dreams, and a lot of things that happen in those dreams that I suspect were being taught something for a reason, for the better of your people, or just the world in general. So I think we are guided by those, and we should act on them if we're given those dreams. So anyways, down the road I'll share more of what I've dreamt, but I shared some here with everybody, and I hope you enjoy and get something out of this. And I hope whatever you're doing, wherever you're at, I hope you're having a good day. And I hope you enjoy yourself, and all the best wishes. And thank you, patrons. Thank you all for subscribing and being a member of our Patreon channel and supporting our show. It really goes a long ways. It really helps me keep the show up and running and paying the bills for the show. It's fun doing it. It's an honor to do it, and I really appreciate the help. It goes a long ways. Thank you. And let's get into it with Jenny.
Like I say, I told you before, these dreams are to me are more become reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's a story to how it took place,
Mhm.
and there's the other ones to it. That goes to me. It's like they go together somehow.
Yeah.
Mm. But for me, it's real because of what happened in that dream and after that dream. Yeah. And that's what I have, today right in front of me. So I
Yeah.
know it's real. It's not something you just make up. But sometimes it's hard to talk to people about it because it didn't happen to them.
Yeah.
Uh, so kind of after a while, you kind of wonder about it. Why? Why did it happen to me then?
Yeah.
But as long as you have the story to it, it's something that people wonder about. These dreams that different people have. Different types of dreams they have. But this one what I'm talking about is what well, we know in this but first of all, what I realized listening to a lot of the stories that our people shared so far,
Mhm.
it seems like we all go back to tradition and ceremonial life and spirituality. Uh, that's what I'm hearing a lot. We were raised around tradition, ceremony, and what.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like. We have a similar understanding, which is good, because then I know that I'm not alone. So we have each other to understand what we're talking about. So
Heck.
with this one, it was when I still lived over in Oregon. It was around 2003. I had to go do a mammogram on my left breast because it was swelling it really big and it was painful.
Mhm.
So I made my appointment with my doctor, and then she had me go do a mammogram. Then she wanted to consult with me about breast cancer, which was all signs of breast cancer. Right?
Mm.
So yeah, I went and did all that, and you have to wait for the result 2 weeks, 1 to 2 weeks it was. So within that, maybe the first 3 days of it, after understanding what they're basically telling me,
Mhm.
and we know breast cancer, that as women we don't want that. Um, that's the worst thing to get to. Is that for us women?
Yeah.
So I kind of went into this kind of got depressed about it because I was thinking on my mind, gee, what's going to happen to my kids, you know, with my boys before I even had my girl. And the mother's worry is, you know, who's going to love them like I do? You know, who's going to protect them? So you kind of go into that because, you know, when there's cancer like that for us, it's like, gee, my life is limited now.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of went into that, you know, that kind of feeling. And so it was that third night, the third day, that third night after I was feeling that way. And here I go into this, you know, this dream. Okay, to me, it wasn't a dream; it was real. Okay, how it seemed, it felt.
Mm-hmm.
In that dream, I'm on my knees like that, and I'm gonna hunch over and I'm crying, and I'm in this like a mountain prairie because I could see the mountains in the background, and I'm in the prairie. I could see that, and I'm crying like that, really crying, you know, because of, you know, what's happening. And it's things. I hear this old lady start talking to me. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And she's asking me in her language, what's the matter, my girl? Why are you crying? That's what she was asking me. Like I could understand her in that dream, but she's telling me, asking me. So with my mind, I didn't move my mouth or anything. I'm still crying, and in my mind, I'm telling her what's happening, what's going on with me, and worried about my kids. I'm just crying to her, you know.
Yeah.
And I didn't look up at her. It's like I, you know, in that dream, like I didn't know, like I knew, like I felt like I knew who, you know, who I was talking to. And when I kind of raised my head like that, and I didn't look straight at her, but I could see the image of her. She wasn't a very tall woman. And in that dream, when I had my hands wrapped around me like that, I move them forward because she's like she took something out of a pocket or a pouch, something,
Mm-hmm.
and she has her hand tucked over it and just, you know, pushed them towards me like that. And so I put my right hand up like that, and she cuffed my hand. And when she cuffed my hand like that, and she lifted her hand off of mine, there's this. It looked like a rock. She placed it in my hand like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't what I could describe it as the same size of a pack of cigarettes, or 100 pack of cigarettes. The same thing like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it felt.
Mm-hmm.
So in that dream, she tells me to place it on my breast, and she started praying, and she started telling me how to go around my breast. So I was doing what she was telling me, and she was praying, and she started singing. And when I dream, all of a sudden, all this blood comes pouring out of my breast, you know, pouring out, you know, hitting the earth like that.
Mm-hmm.
And she tells me not to cry no more. I'll be okay. And before I could even like say anything to her, back to her or anything, I wake up. Mm-hmm. And it was so real. It just, you know, I couldn't get it out of my mind. I couldn't get it to stay in my mind. That's why I know I'll never change the story in that dream of what I seen or what was given to me, because it made me know what I dreamt and experienced. It became reality. because my results came back as negative after that,
Mm-hmm.
and but it still bothered me, And I'm thinking, did I dream that, or was that real, or you know, my mind, just so I had to call my brother and I asked him. Well, I told him about everything, about that dream and about what happened with the results, and so I asked if he could go, visit around sometime and go visit with those elders and all those medicine people or whatever he visits with, and ask him about that. If for people that have rock like that size or something that they use as like a healing rock or something, and he never really called me back or just kind of went away.
Mm-hmm.
So it still bothers me. I still wanted to know. So I called my Aunt Ruby. She was still here with us, and I explained to her about everything that took place, and then I told her about that dream. And as I was telling her and then everything, and she was listening to me, and she said, well, you folks, meaning us kids, we got to remember that our great grandmother Sagaki was a healer. She was a medicine woman. She said, that's what it sounds like who you think, or to describe him.
Mm-hmm.
I asked her, I said, well, what does that mean? I said, when he put that rock in my hand like that, but I didn't give it back to her. She didn't ask for it back. That's what kind of bothered me.
Yeah.
And so she told me, she said, well, it's probably going to come to you. And I left it like that. Yeah. Because I know with us, we all say we were raised traditionally, so we know how to be patient.
Mm-hmm.
To sit, listen, and learn. That's that type of way. Have a lot of patience, or whatever, not to have no doubt in our ways. So I never did. So I held that patience. I felt, well, it was real for me. So I know it's there. It. So I end up going back home to go visit, and I went to my brother's house. I was sitting there visiting with my sister-in-law, and my brother comes in like that, and he goes, "Oh," he said, "you're here," and I go, "Yeah," and he said, "That's good." He said, "Hey," I said, "I want to show you something." So he went back in his room, comes out with his goods,
Mm-hmm.
he got all wrapped up, and puts them on that coffee table in front of me. He's unwrapping everything, and I'm still talking with my sister-in-law while he's doing all that, unwrapping his feathers or what he has. And as I'm talking to her, and all of a sudden he goes, "Here," he said, "this is the one I want to give to you." Like that. So I kind of turned towards him, and no shit, the same way that in that dream that the old lady touched that stone, that rock in my hand.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like the same way Philip, just similar to the same way. Because when he lifted his hand and I looked at it, I looked at it and I started crying.
Mm-hmm.
And I started crying because there it is. eh?
Mm-hmm.
And I started telling my sister-in-law, I said, remember that I was telling you guys what happened in that dream and what? And I said, I said, it's right here, right here. Well, he told me, he said, they went out fishing with Niskum rock. And I told my son, no, the Niskum, they're small, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They're small and look like buffalo. I said, but this one's a stone. It's a petrified stone.
Mm-hmm.
So when we talk about petrified, you think about, oh, that's like 60,000 plus years, you know?
Yeah.
You know? So when it come into my hands like that, you know, and that's when I started thinking, you know, man, you know, dreams are many types of dreams, but they become reality, you know?
Yeah.
So that's one of the ones I shared, you know, with different, mainly younger people, you know, because those type of things they want to hear. They don't. It's the spooky stuff is okay, but they want to like hear sound that's real, you know, to them.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, it's real. So that was one of them, and that's what comes with my, you know, with the story about how that rock came about. My brother is the one that found it and brought it to me.
Jeez. You know, a lot of these dreams that we have, we always have a hard time kind of figuring them out on our own, but over time they eventually make sense. See, and there's different kinds of dreams. We can have dreams that mean something like that, or just regular old dreams where it's your whatever happened during the day or whatever you're thinking about kind of pop into your dreams. More like a daydream, you know, it doesn't really mean anything. But the ones that do mean stuff are a lot different. Like you know, I always Jesus, like the first time I'm gonna ever share this on the podcast, but I don't know why, but a lot of times in your dreams, well, you know, they say you're going into that spirit world. You're going into their world when you're dreaming like that, and you know they can guide you, show you things, teach you things, and not always do you remember those dreams, but when you do, they're really odd. Like I have one that I still think about. So all I know is I traveled over there, and I didn't do it by myself. This spirit came, and I was with that spirit, and I can't remember all of it. It's like, for some reason, maybe I'll remember it. Maybe, geez, even when I die or something, I'll remember it all then. But the way I take it is I'm not allowed to remember it all for whatever reason. But this spirit came, and he was a little, kind of a short guy. He's a short guy, and I called him Eagle Boy in that dream. I don't know why I called him that. That's just what I called him. But he had a friend with him, another spirit, and that spirit was a magpie. And so we were over on that other side, what people call heaven or sand hills. You know, that's what we call it. That's where I was at. But it was really odd because all I remember is coming back from there, and he's actually driving me in a car. He's driving me, and in that car, it was one of those long ones, those old, 70s cars that are really long. Had 4 doors, and for some reason I was sitting in back behind the Eagle Boy, that guy that was driving. He's a little short Indian guy. And, I mean really short, about geez, 3 feet tall, if that. And that magpie was sitting in back with me, and it would just look at me. We talked for a long time, but it talked different. It really talked different. It would look at me and just like move its head and all these odd. Jesus, I knew exactly what it was saying though. I don't know how, but it didn't say any words. But I knew what it was saying and what it meant.
Huh.
And we were over there for quite a while. If it wasn't a day, we were over there all day, and then we were just coming back that evening. But it don't get dark over there. It's always light. And so we were coming back, but that's how it felt to me. We were over there about that long. And as we were coming back, I was looking out those windows, that window on my side, and we were coming out through this valley. Like there's huge hills on each side of us, and we're just kind of driving down it was a real road too. Kind of an older one, but it was a road, and we were driving back over here. Like, he took me over there, because, they say you're not supposed to travel, like, when you travel like that in your dreams, you're not supposed to stay over there, or, I've heard stories of some people just popping in over there, and all those spirits telling them, hey, you guys, you can't be here, you need to go back over, things like that. So, well, anyways, these two spirits were with me, so they were kind of guiding me over. Well, anyways, we were coming back, and I looked out, and everything over there is so beautiful, loving. Like, you don't want to come back. And I've got I got family. I've got all these things that I love here, and it's not like I didn't want to come back. I just don't want to come back just yet, and I kind of wanted to stay a little longer, because, well, I don't know how to say it. I loved it over there, I guess I'd say. But as I looked out those windows, I could see these trees, and they were so big. I never seen trees like that, ever. They were like, I see pictures of that redwood forest. There were trees that big, but, I mean, even bigger. They were just huge, huge trees, like 100 feet wide. And they were so tall that they were taller than those hills. And what I thought was really cool about it was, at the top of this one tree I kept staring at, it was almost kind of like on top of it also had another little forest growing on top of it, because there was different kinds of trees growing off of it. And it was just the coolest thing. I was staring at it, and I said, are those your guys' trees over here? And that Eagle Boy just kind of spun around and looked back at me, and he said, yep. That's how he said that. And I just kept smiling, and I was looking, oh, that's pretty cool. But I knew we were coming back, because he showed me a lot of things. Him, that magpie, showed me a bunch of things. I just can't remember it. But I was saying, I said, hey, geez, you should come visit me more often. I was telling him. And I said, wait, no. I'll come visit you over here more often. You can bring me over here. Well, I want to see more. That's what I was saying. Then I just kept quiet, and I kept looking out that window. And I kept thinking, geez, I wonder how he's going to bring me back. Like, how is it going to be when I go back? I wonder what he's going to do. And, just like that, in a blink of an eye, it's like I just blinked my eyes, and I was face down on this highway, and it was during a blizzard. It's like I got dropped into a regular dream. Like, say I was traveling over with him, then I just got plopped into a regular old dream. But I was face down on this highway. It was just outside of Browning, like going toward Temed. It was right out there on that little flat before you get up Spring Hill. It's just right there where he dropped me off, and he said, or I was thinking to myself, yeah, I wonder how he's going to bring me back. And like, I came to like that, and I was like in the push-up position looking on the ground. I wasn't cold or nothing, but I just stood up, and like, oh, that's how that's how I was thinking, like, that's how he did that. That's weird. I was, thinking like that still, like, how is he going to bring me back? Anyways, as I stood up and I looked over this drift came by, like this snow, a bunch of like a cloud of snow kind of went blowing by. You know how that is in a blizzard?
Yeah.
He stepped out of that like it was just like a door, and he stepped out and he was looking at me, but behind him I could see it was still that place we was at. And he said, like that. You know, because I was wondering how's he going to bring me back, and he said, like that, still smiling. And it's like he just shut a door, and that blizzard thing just blew away that he would come out of. It blew away. And I come to and thinking to myself, you know, I really felt good that day because of how it made me feel when I was over there. I felt good the whole day. Boy, I got up and I start smudging and praying and, you know, giving thanks for whatever it was that they showed me that day. And
Yeah.
but I still think about it. And those dreams are different than, I mean, you know, all those regular little dreams. Because a lot of times you travel, your spirit leaves, you know, and you go places, or spirits will come and get you, or teach you things, or, you know, stuff like that. And there's a lot of that. You know, one more story I'll tell you is one my father-in-law told me. This is just to kind of illustrate how powerful dreams are. So this was a while back when they still had wagons and the reservations were just started. And well after 1855, after we were put on this res that we're at now, but it was after that at some point, and I want to say closer to the 1900s, early 1900s maybe. But they went out to get wood in that wagon. They had a wagon, I guess, and they pulled up to that wood line. There was a little boy with them, and he was tired, so he just stayed there by that wagon wheel and fell asleep. And all those men went off to go get wood, and I guess that little boy, he woke up because he seen this Indian walking toward him, all in buckskin, just walking right toward him, and he said, "Come with me." He says, "There's gonna come a time with your people, and there's a sickness that's gonna come. I'm gonna show you how to fix this sickness and how to heal it." He says, "Now come with me," and he start walking with them into those trees. And that old Indian showed that boy a bunch of things, how to do things in a certain way. He showed him, you know, different roots, you know, different kind of medicines, and he showed him how to prepare it, and, you know, what songs to sing and all that. And here that little boy woke up when those men were just coming back. He woke up, and I guess those men said, "Oh yeah, he was just running around, you know, kind of panicking." That's how he was acting, saying, "You know, give me something to write with. Give me a pencil and a paper or something, you know." And they finally got him some stuff together, and he started writing it all down, what he just had that dream about. Well, my father-in-law said that man, he ended up healing cancer in our tribe for a long time. I guess he died in, if I remember right, in the 80s. But that spirit showed him how to heal cancer. And, you know, and that's kind of how that goes. They can teach you certain things, and, you know, dreams are really a powerful thing. They show us directions, where to go in life. They show us, they can give us warnings. They can heal us. All of these things, and a lot of people don't really believe in the power of dreams. Even our own people, you know, like, they just don't understand that that's really, well, I guess, a powerful thing, you know, some of these dreams.
I have a lot of dreams. Then I hear that lady talking to me, like, you know, when I'm cooking, I can hear her talking to me, telling me something. And the same thing, I'd write it down. Writing everything down that she's telling me. I'd read it over and over and over to where I didn't have to read it. I could tell it. What she was telling me. the same time, and that was happening with me. I went into dreams where I went and I went to this big old boulder rock. And I'm climbing up this big boulder, and I'm climbing up there because there's a man sitting up there. So I'm going up to sit by him. So when I get up there, sit next to him, he puts his arm around me and like you're telling me, in these dreams, we're not talking with our mouth, it's with our mind.
Mm-hmm.
And you're telling me, first thing he tells me is to never be ashamed of who I really am. And like saying there's a big pond of water in the river. And all of a sudden, he moves his hand towards that water. And this man, he's all in white. He's got long, beautiful black hair.
Mm.
And he started moving his hand like towards that water, and there's earth inside that water. And it's like telling me what different things was going on, different areas all over Earth. And then I wake up out of it. And that was so real. Man, I was cold, like I was shivering.
Mm.
And it got to where at times it's almost like I could feel when I'm leaving my body at that time.
Yeah.
One time I seen myself laying under my bed, so I was like I was coming back into my body. So a lot of things would happen like that, and okay, I am sure I shared this one with you probably more than once. But in this dream happened over 20 years ago now.
Yeah.
And I dream about those veteran homes in Brown.
Oh yeah.
And in that dream, those veteran homes are there. And one of my family members live in one of the homes. And in that dream, there was, 4 different themes in that dream.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is that there's me and other family members were looking out that door to that house. We're looking down towards the seashore. And we're looking that way because all these military helicopters are coming in like that, and they have military vehicles hooked to them. So they're like dropping them all over up there on that road, and they start moving. And in the same dream, it switched to the scene where they're going house to house, and they're asking how many adults are in that house. And I always tell people I don't like that part because we were hiding all the children under that house. We didn't want them to know we had children. And then it switches to where like everyone's walking towards that wake center, Glacier Home.
Mm-hmm.
Like in that dream, that's the only place we had to go and eat at. And then it switches again where all these cars are speeding out thirsty roads trying to get you into the mountain. But they have those helicopters that kind of stop them. And then I wake up. That one bothered me. Really bothered me. Bothered me for a long time. And when it becomes reality, it's when they were knocking down the top that day, and my brother, why knocking the top down? Because we were watching them. Oh, they supposed to build some veterans homes. Now, I shook my head. I said, no, it's getting too real,
Yeah.
That's why some of these dreams they're real in a way that you might think, no, it's a dream, but it actually is. You've seen the houses were built way before they were built, and then you see it.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's just what I've seen in that dream. So it's what bothers me.
Yeah, I think about that too a lot. When
Mm-hmm.
you told me that dream, I hope I never see that day.
Uh,
As in, I hope it never happens. You know, yeah, that's pretty unsettling when you think about if something like that happened. That's the only place we would have to run is to the mountains.
yeah, people talk about those things. Well, we just gotta stay somehow.
Hmm.
But another one that when I was at my brother Philip's house too, um, I was going through this withdrawal. I challenged myself because I have pins in my lower back, and I went through the back surgery, and then they bruised the left nerve, my left leg bruised that nerve, so I had nerve damage.
Hmm.
So they had me on 60 milligram morphine, and I was on it for like 8 years or so.
Hmm.
But I never abused it. I never took more than what I needed. That's it. It's gone.
Yeah.
But then I decided, that I wanted to challenge my pain. I wanted to see how bad my pain really was without morphine.
Yeah.
So I challenged myself, okay? And my boys were with me. And so I said, okay, I only had this many left. I'm going to cut them all in half. Until the last one, and that's it. So it became the last half. And by the 2 days after the last half I took, I was in so much pain. Hmm? The pain I was in, ugly, I was talking to it. I was telling it to leave me alone. I'm tired. I know you're right. So, just leave me alone.
Hmm.
And that's part of that wish, say.
Hmm.
And on that day, I told my son, I said, well, on that third day, I said, I don't know. I'm in too much pain. I said, maybe I should just go to the hospital and have to get some shot. And around Browning, you could go look for it, if somebody has it.
Yeah.
Anything for pain, don't just have to be more. I could have went to the store and got some, but then my son told me, Mom, if you do that, then everything that you have ever shared with us about and what, that you would put doubt in their mind. And I told him, no, I understand. I said, I can't do that to you guys. So then I can, with that challenge, on my whisker. So here comes the third night. I told my boys, I need to go lay down because we were going to get ready to go to Oregon that next day, fourth day.
Hmm.
So I go and lay down in that bed. Here, I fell asleep. And I heard my kids, my boys, when they come in that room to lay down.
Yeah.
But they turned that light on and woke me up. So anyway, they turned it off and I fell back to sleep. Well, when I fell back to sleep, I had no idea that they got back up and they went to go get something to eat down at town park. Okay, I had no idea sleeping. Okay, but when I was sleeping, I went into this dream that I'm in that prairie, mountain prairie, laying there. And I'm laying there, all these animals around me, but they were all white. And I'm just laying there. I could see the mountains and the background, everything, and they were like sniffing on my leg, like just sniffing on them. Ones that were down, like the other one. kind of by my arm.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm in that dream, that what woke me up out of it is when they turned that light on. And when they turned that light on, I'm looking at it, wondering, what just happened, because I didn't know they got up. And I'm looking at it. I was like, "You hungry, Mom?" And have me something to eat. And I took it. I sat up and I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, well, what just happened? I thought you guys went to bed. And they go, yeah, we did it. We got hungry. So we didn't want to wake you up. And I go, well, how long was you guys gone? And my son goes, what, 20 minutes? So I'm like, sick. I finished eating and I lay down like that. And I started realizing I had no more pain.
Hmm.
And my shoulders, there was just a little bit of pain. My arms would ache. My whole body would ache. Make me cry.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So on that fourth day, I felt good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was sharing with my uncle about that happened with that, and he told me there's stories about that, or teaching that you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Well, all right. Well, I know what I think. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's pretty cool. They took your pain away.
Yeah. I was sharing it with friends from up north, and just like, what were they doing? I was like, they were sniffing, they were smelling my body. And then I woke up, I realized the pain in my leg was gone.
Hmm.
All right, but my shoulder, there was still a little bit of pain on my shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah. And after that, no more morphine. Never took nothing out of it. No more. I won't take anything that's still permanent.
I've had dreams too where they were warnings, but I didn't know what they. Like this one. Oh geez, this one's kind of personal, but I'll go ahead and tell it anyways. Just so. I mean, the reason why I'd share it is just because some people might have the same sorts of dreams, and I would just tell you to really be careful and really try and be mindful of your dream and try to listen to it and whatever. Just be careful, I guess I'd say. So this dream, my boy, Ipi Suat, a morning star, he was 3 years old at the time, and now he's 13. So this was 10 years ago. We were at this. To me, it looked like it was Kalispell Fair. We were at a fair, and I was with my in-laws, and Rose was just a baby, and Ippy was 3, so he was always running around. When he was smaller, he would always take off. We always had to chase him around, and that's what happened in that dream. I was walking with him in that big crowd. I was holding the baby. I don't know where my wife went. I had to watch the 2 smallest ones, so she went somewhere at that fair. I don't know. We kind of separated whatever we were doing. But I ended up seeing my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law too. And she told me, "Where's Ippy?" Oh, he was just right here, because he was just right on my side. I just stopped holding his hands for, I don't know, a couple seconds just to readjust Rose, and just then is when I seen her, and she said, "Where's Zippy?" I looked around. I don't know, he was just right here. I start panicking, so I handed the baby off to my sister-in-law, and I me and Annie start looking for Ippy. Going all through that crowd, looking around, hollering his name, and couldn't find him. And it was odd because there must have been a rodeo or a horse race getting ready to happen, something, because they had these panel fences kind of lining the walkways and stuff, and they had it to where they had to chase horses through where the people were, so they opened these fences and kind of stopped the pathway off where people walk so they could just run those horses through real quick. There's only about like 20 of them, but they ran them through. And I remember standing there just panicking, thinking I gotta get to that other side to go find my boy. I gotta get over there, but I had to wait for him to all cross. I was looking for places to go around it. I couldn't find any. Well, they opened it back up and I went running, and I noticed this yard where they had, electricity, those transformers and stuff like that. And it was fenced off with a chain link fence. But, God, I ran in there and I found him. He got into that yard where those transformers are at, all electricity. And I'll just warn everybody, it's kind of a rough image, but I found my boy. He was already electrocuted and he was laying on the ground. And I just said, "Oh, my boy." I just start breaking down. I got weak and I went to pick him up. And when I picked him up, he was already gone. And part of his head was stuck to the ground. So when I pulled him up, it kind of like tore a little bit, and that's when I woke up. It was just too horrible of a dream, and I woke up, and I was really disturbed by that, really bad. I was really disturbed by that. I remember going to work and telling my friend who taught me how to do flooring, I remember telling him that dream. He said, "Oh man, that's horrible." I said, "I know." I said, "It's really bothering me. I don't know what to do." But he said, "That bothered me too, bro." He says, "I don't know, man. Just don't think about it. It's just a dream, huh?" I said, "Yeah, maybe you're right." And I tried not to think about it. I smudged off and everything and asked for help and things like that, just, so it's really bothering me. And about 2 weeks after that dream, one of my other sister-in-laws was staying with us, and we had an upstairs, and I told her, I said, "Always close this window. Never leave it open if you're not in here. Close this window. We always worry about this little guy getting up there and falling out. So please just close the window when you're not in there." And so I was downstairs and I was fixing this little electronic thing. I don't remember what it was. I want to say it was a surround sound thing I was trying to fix and get it set up or something like that. And my wife was upstairs with her sister, and they were just visiting in our room. And all those other kids went outside to play. We thought they all went out. I thought Ippy went with them, went outside to play in that little backyard, or on the side of the house there was some shade. I thought they were playing there, or just right out front, off the road, right in that grass. And we had a little back area too. I'd hear them running around back there like they were playing tag or something. And well, I thought Ippy was with them, and my daughter come running in, and she said, "Ippy fell out the window." I said, "What?" "Fell out the window," and she ran back out that front door. So I followed her, and I was looking around for him out there. I thought maybe he fell out that window up front. No. She ran all the way back around to the back of the house, where I could have just ran straight to the sliding glass door and seen him, but I went all the way around following her, and I seen him laying on that back patio on the concrete, and he had fell out and hit his head on the concrete, and I thought, Oh my boy, just like in that dream, it all flooded back to me. I said the exact same thing. I felt the exact same way, just like that dream. I said, oh my boy, and I went to pick him up, and his head was swollen on one side, like really, really bad. And I ran into that house with him, and I started yelling for my wife. I told her call 911 to get the ambulance here, and you know, they had to end up, he almost died. From Bozeman, they had to fly him to Denver to that children's hospital. But on the way down, his vitals were dropping because his brain was swelling, and he had a brain. What we found out later was he had a brain bleed on top, and then underneath his brain, it like jogged, just like slammed it around in his skull and made it bleed on both ends like that. Well, they stopped halfway down in Casper, and by then I had already called my father-in-law, had him get his pipe and start praying with it and asking all the other people, all the holy people, all the medicine people to pray for him. And I was praying too and everything. That's all I could do. And they flew out, and it just so happens that that doctor that was on call was just leaving. He had just got his stuff and he was just leaving. Then he heard another call about a kid coming in with a brain injury. And had it been any time different, that we probably would have, he would have left, and God knows what would have happened. But he stayed, and he got suited back up, and my boy flew in, and he was able to cut out a piece of his skull so he could relieve the swelling. And from there they got him down to Denver, but that saved his life. And they got him to Denver and did more surgery on him down there. And where they cut his head is the same place in my dream where his head tore. Same exact place. And he was so pitiful, Matt. He like black eyes from it, and his it's probably the darkest days of my life, because we almost lost him, but he's still here. And my wife's cousin gave him an aniscum to help him.
Yeah.
And that aniscum was sent down with us to help him down in the hospital. He was down there for a while, and it was really sad because there were people down there that, well, they weren't going to get to go home with their kids. Their kids didn't make whatever accident they had. It was really sad, and that hospital is really a heavy place, but we were one of the lucky ones. And the doctor that did the surgery on my boy said, most people, kids his age, they don't survive this type of injury. He said it's really fortunate that he survived, and they asked if he could be part of a study. As a matter of fact, we got to go back to have them look at him again now that he's older, because he lived, and they want to understand how and what happened, what was different, So at some point we got to go back. I want to say it's this fall, but that dream warned me. It warned me, but I didn't listen. Now, is that something I could have changed? Could I have changed that fate? I don't know. But had I listened to that dream and I took more precautions, and if I had just known what it was, I had no idea what it was going to be. Maybe it was preparing me for what was to come. I don't know. But the fact that I had that dream before everything happened, like with me, well, I've always known that dreams are really powerful, but to have it right in your face like that is a whole different level. To understand and to realize how powerful dreams really are, and what they can mean. It's a tough thing really a hard lesson to learn it that way. But that's why I wanted to share it, to tell people to try and really pay attention to your dreams. If there's something that's bothering you with them, go seek out one of those holy people and have them help you with your dream.
Yeah.
See if you can understand what's going on with it. Because a lot of times, especially today, you might have parents that don't even understand dreams themselves. Like I don't understand them. I really try and struggle with a lot of mine. There's still a lot of my dreams I don't really understand. But I know that them spirits in those dreams were telling me things. For whatever reason, I don't know still. And I wait. And I wait for something to happen with those. To this day, I still wait. And
I think that's the only part that's hard for a lot of us. That, so those old ones were probably gifted.
Mm-hmm.
You're gifted, and it's not man that takes that away. It's when those old ones come to you. And for me, it's hard because when that happens with me, to me, they're trying to show me something, teach me something that, to help me to understand and remember. So a lot of these things we don't remember because we weren't born during this time. And it's hard for me to turn my back on them because I would never deny them.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. A lot of these things that we're talking about, that's what people today are trying to still figure it out. And I have to have, all of us, we have mentors.
Yeah.
So I get a hold of my mentor, with my uncle, an old guy up in Canada, because he knows our family background, and I share a lot of it with him. So he understands. And so we don't have many girl teachers left, There's some that are trying to do, much as they can, but some are still learning. So it's hard for us,
Yeah.
Sometimes, you just gotta have to. With me, I can honestly say, when people talk about what saves your life and what,
Mm-hmm.
I tell them a tree. Right? That's what saved my life, was a small tree. When we were going down a mountain backwards, no brakes. A little tree saved us from going over, keep going, and we went over a cliff backwards.
Oh.
That's why I respect the center's home, the tree. That's what saved me. That's what helped me to understand, And without my grandmother, my great grandmother, not my grandmother before me, and our grandfathers and partners, I would not know anything. Because we all kind of have the similar stories and understandings and stuff that are teaching, but a lot of it is spiritual.
Yeah, it is.
And we live with spirits, and we're not even afraid of them.
Mm-hmm.
So, we can just talk about it, share stories, and keep on living in the same house that spooks you all your life.
Yeah.
Or the house next door, or down the street, or wherever.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the good part, is that we understand that. But the dreams are very, very powerful.
I'll share another dream real quick. This one was weird. It was I felt like I traveled again. But this was recently, and I think I might have told you this, but I'll tell it again just for the people listening. So I had to go through this this little outpatient surgery thing, but they had to put me under with anesthesia, and From what I understand, you go in anesthesia, you just go out and it's dark, and you come back and it's dark, and you don't really remember anything or anything like that. But it wasn't like that for me. I don't know why, but maybe others have had similar things happen to them. But this is what happened to me. They put me out, and they did their thing that they had to do for me. But I just remember my arm hurting. That anesthesiologist was standing there, and he had this syringe, and it looked like milk. It was really a thick looking thing, but they squirt that into that IV, and I remember it kind of hurt my arm. Must have been the extra pressure in it, I don't know, but it almost felt like my right arm was cramping, and that's all I remember. Right from that, immediately I woke up and I was laying in this fasting circle. And for the people that don't know what those are, they're kind of like it's like a high ground, but there's usually the ones I seen out in Blacktail, they have rocks around them. Almost looks like a grave is marked out, like with rocks, but it's a fasting circle. And the one I was laying in, all of those rocks are painted white. They were white, and I was just laying there, and there's a great big camp to my left, and I was kind of up on this hill. Not all the way on top of it, but just right there, almost to the top of that hill. It was dug in right there, and that's where I was laying, and I could hear all these old women around me. They were all talking, and they were talking Indian, and I could understand them, and but I didn't want to look at them, because I didn't want to be rude. I always got the feeling that I shouldn't look at them, and so I was just laying there looking up at the sky. It was really a blue sky. I knew where I was at. I was right outside that big encampment, that's where I was at. So for the listeners that don't understand what I'm talking about, when we say the Sand Hills, it's to translate it, it's our version of heaven. It's a huge encampment. It's so big, it's bigger than the ocean. It's a huge encampment. All your relations are there. And so that's where I was at, on the very outskirts of that, because I could hear the big bustling camp. I could hear it all. But I heard those women, and they were all talking, and I seen movement down by my feet, so I looked down, and I seen this woman that was older than me, but not as old as those old women, because she just kind of like glanced at me real quick, and I glanced at her, and she was fixing something down by my feet. I don't know what she was fixing. Maybe those rocks? I don't know what it was, but I didn't really look. I just kept looking up at that blue sky and listening, and I could hear those old women talking, and they were saying, yeah, and this one here, and who they were referring to was those people that were in that room with me. There was 2 nurses and then those 2 doctors, the anesthesiologist and that other doctor. And anyways, they said in this one here, they're always worrying about stuff. And and they were saying, and it's like that with everybody. If they realized that the things that they're worrying about doesn't matter, they'd be a lot better off. And then I heard another one say, and they don't realize that worrying, it gets inside them and it makes them sick. It can manifest itself as cancer, or as this sickness or that sickness. And if they just understood what they were doing to themselves, and they were making these things important that are not important, and they're worrying about them, if they could just know what they were doing, they would be alright. That's how they were talking. They were talking about those people, and just as I was getting ready to come back, that one lady said, "You must tell these folks what we said, huh?" I said, "Yeah, I will." But I didn't say it like it was in my mind how I said that. I didn't talk with my voice. But I told him, yeah, I will. I'll tell them. And when I came to, I knew exactly where I was at, and I wasn't disorientated. I knew exactly. It's just I had limited control at that point of my body. I was just like, oh cripes, I felt like I couldn't really stand up on my own just yet, but they were just wheeling me out of that room, and it was just those two nurses, and I told that one, and she was looking, she glanced at me, and I said, I come from this place, and these spirits wanted you guys to hear this. And I said, but they're non-natives, so they must have thought I was just talking nuts. And I said, I told them what they said. They said to tell you not to worry about those things you're worrying about, that they're not important. And if you keep worrying like that, you're going to make yourself sick. Just let it go, and don't worry about it. That's what I told her, and they start over-talking me, talking to each other, and she just glanced down there. That's why, like, they ain't listening. I said that out loud. They ain't listening to me. They think I'm talking crazy. They ain't. I said that out loud. Because, anyways, we got back in close to where that room was where my wife was going to come see me, and I looked at her right in the eye, and she looked at me, and I was glad she kept eye contact with me, and I said, remember what I told you? They told me to tell you that. Just remember it, okay? And they still didn't believe me, and I remember I got back to that room, and they were saying, well, just let him be for a while. He's not quite out of the anesthesia, but it'll be wearing off here quick. And that's what they were saying. And anyways, I don't know who they were talking to each other. And next thing I start thinking, well, I'm going to get ready and start getting dressed. My clothes there still. And then that doctor come in, and he said, do you know who I am? I said, yeah. I said, I don't remember your name, but you were that first doctor that came in here to talk to me before I went back in that room. He said, yeah, you're right. Okay. Well, he must be all right, and he started telling me what the results were, everything. And so he left, and my wife that nurse said, well, I'm going to go get your wife. And I start getting dressed, and as my wife come in, I says, Amber, I went to a place, and these spirits are talking to me, and I was trying to tell these people what they said because that's what they wanted me to do. But they wouldn't listen to me. I said, Amber, they're not natives like us. They don't know this way, and they don't understand it, and they won't hear me. But I wanted to share that just because of everybody out there. If you're worrying about something, don't worry. It might be hard not to, but just don't worry about the things that you can't control. My wife told this to me just the other day. Just go with life. Just go with the flow. And if things don't work out, well, they don't work out. Go another direction. Try harder. Go around. Try to get to your objective, alternate route. Just go with it. Don't worry. Don't worry about money. Don't worry about all these things. And just keep going. Just be happy and try to live a good life. That's kind of what I took from that. And hearing those old ladies and how they talked, geez, they made me feel good. Like I just wanted to stay there forever and keep listening to them. Because of how they talk. They're just so calming and so beautiful, I miss that. My grandma's, because I got no more grandparents left. All mine are gone now. But I miss that.
I got no grandparents, no parents. From my young age.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I listened to after Al. I was listening to them would be the first time listening to my own. So a lot of different tribes, they have a similar understanding. That's why some drinks are too, they bother too much, so I have to talk to somebody and see if they can help me out on that. Because some of these drinks some are real, some are not real.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it depends on what's being shown or what.
Because they bother you, so you need an interpretation of it. It's almost like you have this drive to find answers.
Yeah. Because it's like that, for me, I feel that our way of teachings were not written. So it's not like go find a book, figure it out.
You know, all of those societies, all of those bundles, all of these ceremonies that we have, just so everybody knows that those were taught to us by those spirits. We didn't just think them up on our own. They taught us how to do them, and how they do it in our dreams. So
Yeah.
a lot of those dreams and that medicine that our tribes have, all tribes, if they have medicine, they got them from those spirits. And to translate that further, just so you guys understand what we're talking about, is if I was to translate it into the Western way, I would say those angels came and showed us how to live in the way they wanted us to, and they taught us how to heal, and they taught us, you know, the direction to go in life, and how to guide our people. It's from them, the helpers of Natusi, of the Creator. They're the ones that come from God to show us and guide us. And that's why we have all of those. It's not something we just thought up, or, you know, we're some sort of savage. No, these are taught to us by those spirits.
Yeah. If you look at how much of our teaching has been lost, it's not destroyed, but it's lost. So the meaning that a lot of our teachers, our language speakers, our advisors, our mentors, you know, how our people live amongst each other when it comes to our spiritual understanding of this world, they killed them. So, like, they took our teachers from us. So there's very few that still carry that old knowledge. That's why those original ones that are not, most of them are not even here anymore. When they would have those ceremonies at White Castle, as a young girl, let's go a little child, 5, 6, 7 years old. But being there, going there with my grandpa and grandma, the things that, you know, I thought I was driven as a child when I thought I woke up and I'd be sitting there and I'd hear them, you know, talking in a language, or they'd be singing, or, you know, they'd be laughing and tell stories. But as a young kid, you start to understand them, especially when they're talking about animals. And I remember a few times I've seen an animal come like that and sit down and turn into one of our people. So when they were doing ceremony back then, they didn't talk in the fashion of this world as man, woman. It was an animal. So they would explain this world in animal form, because all the animals were created way before us. They were before us, not after. And so then that whole teaching was back whenever the animals were learned before man. Yeah, that's how they learned from the animals. They're the ones that taught them about what was here, you know, before them.
Yeah, every natural thing has a spirit or a life force, and that's where a lot of our gifts come from, is those animal spirits. And not only just them, rocks, plants, certain, you know, there's a life force in all of them, and that's where a lot of that medicine comes from, or, you know, all those teachings, you know, because they take pity on us as humans. They want to help us. You know, when you go to the Western religion, a lot of times they'll say, well, if there's a spirit that you see, it shouldn't be here because all the good ones have went to heaven. On our way, that's not how it is, because good spirits come back all the time to guide you. That's why I would translate that as angels come. There's different types of angels, you know. They come back to teach you, guide you. that's the only way I guess I could make sense to a non-native to what's going on here and how that works, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, because animals, those good spirits from those animals, those are like angels. You know, they guide you, give you power over their life force, basically. You know.
Yeah, or even look at the dog. I mean, the dog comes from the wolf pack.
Mhm.
Yeah. There's stories about the dogs, you know, to play our people, even though they say, well, we have too many, but see, those are like almost like your protectors today.
Yeah, our people are really the people of the wolf. You know, because the wolf, way back when, is the one that taught us how to hunt. You know, how to go to war if we needed it. They're the ones that taught us all of that to survive. You know, hunt together in a group. They're the ones that taught us that. And we have stories about that. Story of the
Yeah.
Wolf Trail, you know, talks about that from way back when those wolves came and showed the people and gave them all of those lodges to live in. You know, all the
Yeah.
predators come and helped us, and the wolf was chief of them all at the time, those predators. So our stories go back far into all of those, and a lot of people will hear our stories and they don't understand them because they sound like, well, I guess like folklore, or you know how people use folklore in a like as a fairy tale. No, these are real stories about these spirits that came, you know, way
Yeah.
back when, and they guided us and showed us how to be and how to live and all of these things. You know, they took pity on us because really, man is just pitiful. You know, we like an infant in this world, and those spirits must have seen that way back when, you know, because they obviously took pity on us, and we're still here today because of them. You know, all the different animals, like the societies that we have, you know, like
Yeah.
that Horn Society comes from those buffalo, you know, it's an old warrior society. But just
Yeah.
all of those things are from those animals, you know. We have, of course, beaver bundles, you know, there's a story that goes with that, how we got that bundle, how those beavers took pity on that guy and gave him the bundle, you know, and showed him those things. It
Mm-hmm.
goes on and on. There's so many different gifts that were given to the people over the ages, and some of those gifts are still here, and a lot have kind of faded away. But that's not to say they're totally gone, because, like I said, we're guided by our dreams. So all they say you gotta do is go seek it out again, which means go fast. So you approach someone that knows how to fast. You know, usually those sun dancers,
Yeah.
weather dancers, whoever, you know, them people, you seek them out. They know how to fast, and they can guide you if you approach them. And if you, for some reason in your life, you were meant to go have one of those gifts and bring some of that back to the people, then you will. But if not, then you know, not everybody gets to hold that kind of medicine or be that person, that spiritual leader. You know, it's just like people in a church. Not everybody's a priest or a father or anything like that. Not everybody is that. There's just certain few that dedicate their lives to that. And it's same in our tribe too. All these tribes, it's the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when Ducey wants you to do something, he'll make sure it's put in your path, and you'll become that, you know. But that's kind of how I look at that too. Is if it's meant for you, then he'll single you out, and it'll be, you know.
Mm-hmm. And I tell you that time, I'll tell you one more. Well, with my youngest son, we were at my brother's house, and he always wanted us to fall asleep before him. You know, he acted like he was scared to, you know, be awake by himself.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in the bedroom, laying down with him, and my brother had his dog. He was laying down in that hallway. straight across is my brother's room. And that door was open, about a foot open. We kind of see his bed in there. And my brother and my other one was, and my friend was all in the living room. My other son, they were all in there visiting. So I kept telling my youngest son, don't be crying. You need to stop crying. You used to cry at night. It's not good to cry at night. And so I kind of calmed him down, and he's still doing his old sniffling,
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, I heard an old man's voice kind of come out of that bedroom, he was in that room, but you could hear him singing.
Mm-hmm.
But the song that he was singing, it was more like a kid song or something. He was like trying to cheer my son up or something.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I knew what I heard is because that dog, he kind of sat up a little bit like that, and his ears went straight up, and he was looking in that room, like towards that room. Like he heard the same thing, and my boys heard the same thing. Right now, my son got quiet, and I said, "See, I told you. Did you hear that?" Huh? So then I had my other son come back there, told him to tell those guys what just happened. And that he stayed in that house, just west of the swimming pool right there.
Yeah.
Remember you came over there that day?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was a lot of things that happened to me in that house. Even how they say, oh, you're not supposed to collect money in your dreams.
Yeah.
But I've heard that before, Well, damned if I was sleeping on that couch. I was dreaming I was in this big old casino. And I'm playing this machine, and I kind of take that bar and I pull it down.
Yeah.
And holy crap, all of a sudden the lights come on, and all these gold coins come pouring out of that machine. They were just freaking pouring out. And like people come over there and they start grabbing those coins and holding them above my head, and they were dropping on me. And then I go to grab that bucket like that to start collecting them. There was a lot of them. That machine just kept pouring them out. And so like, once you put that bucket there, and they were just gonna touch them. And damn, this Philip's dog, my friend Philip's dog, he licked my face. Oh shit, he licked my face and woke me up, And automatically, I'm telling him, damn it, Scrappy, I said, what did you do that? You should let me question my women. It woke me up out of, a good dream. But then I realized he actually helped me.
Mm.
Don't let me collect. Yeah, so that's how I look at dogs. They're medicine.
Mm-hmm.
They know things. Mm-hmm.
There's an old story about those dogs when they saved our people from a drought. They dug for water and found water for us, and there was no water. Everybody was dying. But those dogs, they went up to that cliff, to the base of that cliff, and dug and got us water. There's another old story about this old holy man. Somebody put medicine on him, but that he was gonna live, but his daughters his wives are supposed to stay awake with him for 4 nights, and it would break that medicine. Well, they fell asleep. His youngest wife fell asleep, and then he was gonna die, and he knew it. But he looked at that dog that he saved when they're all moving camp. He took pity on that one dog, made his wives take it and take care of it and feed it. He talked to it. He said, why don't you take pity on me? He says, I took pity on you. Can you help me? That dog just looked at him like it kind of understood him and started licking his toe where that medicine hit him like a needle. He started licking it like that. And, geez, he come out of it. that dog helped. And there's a lot of stories like that, you know, those dogs. And everybody's got that one story about when those res dogs walked you all the way home and protected you and stuff. You know, there's stories like that too to this day, those res dogs. You know, they could be vicious and mean too, but sometimes one of them be right with you, always loyal to you for whatever reason, walk you all the way across town, make sure nothing happens to you.
Yeah, walk you home.
Yeah. Yeah, my dad.
I thought it was smart though.
Mm-hmm.
And they used the crosswalks and everything. That happened right in front of me and my brother coming down by that college, and they just kind of standing right there for that crosswalk.
Mm-hmm.
We stopped right there, and he walked across in front of us. And they go up, I said, "Damn, only in drowning, like they say, you know, only in drowning, you know." Shit like that would happen, you know. They got so smart to go to college now. They don't want to get wrapped over.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat.
Well, let's call it a night, huh, Jenny?
Yeah, there's a lot of other stories, but I just have to, you know, get my mind open. You know, it's like opening my own book here.
Maybe we'll do a part 2 with these dreams.
Yeah, I remember a lot of them. But yeah, we could talk about it some more, because when you talked about not to worry, how we're told not to worry and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
I'll share that one on our next one about when that wolf turned into that old man.
Yeah.
And gave my friend a message gift to me.
Yeah, we'll save that one. We'll leave that as a little cliffhanger.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
All right.
Well, good night,
Thank
Jenny.
you, Matthew.
All right. Love you, Auntie.
Yeah. Good night. Till next time.
All right. Yeah, like I said, Jenny will be telling that story the next time we talk. And I'll share more of mine too. So I hope you guys have a good night, a good day, a good morning, the whole thing. I really wish everybody well. And again, thank you patrons for being there and supporting us. We really appreciate it. And until next time.